Well, folks, I have returned. After a lengthy hiatus, I have made my way back to YouTube, and it would seem just in time, because I've come back just in the nick of time to talk about the Switch 2, or whatever the hell it's going to be called. Switch 2 Electric Boogaloo, Super Switch, Switch U, whatever. Regardless of the name, it's a topic that I've actually wanted to talk about for a little while, but it's all over the place. I'm sure you can find a dime a dozen videos talking about it. It's the big thing right now. So while not an entirely unique discussion on my part, I figured, well, why not get my opinion out there? And while officially we know frighteningly very little about what Nintendo's next console is, there is a few things that we do know. And as it turns out, this information is straight from the horse's mouth. Nintendo themselves, who while I was recording the first iteration of this video, decided to tweet some information out about their next console not too long after their investors meeting, where we got a few big pieces of information. One, we know that we're getting a direct guaranteed in June that will be focusing on only the Switch for the next half of the year. The other thing that we know is that we are going to see whatever Nintendo's next console is within the fiscal year, which would be from now until March of 2025. Now, the announcement of a Direct in June really isn't that surprising. Traditionally, we have gotten June Directs from Nintendo pretty much every year, so that's not that much of a shocker. Also, preemptively telling us not to expect to see anything for their next console within that Direct is also something that Nintendo has done in the past, where they, like to shoot down some expectations if they're gonna get sky high. However, unceremoniously telling us that we are going to see what their next console is within the fiscal year in a random tweet, well, that's a little bit more surprising. Or in the immortal words of my guy Sheev Palpatine, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. And this official information does line up pretty nicely with some insider info that has come out over the past few months that has explained about, the new Switch being pushed back, so it would be coming in 2025 as opposed to coming this year, and some other stuff. As it would seem right now, it seems like our timeline would go probably getting a Direct maybe in September or October where they show us the new system, maybe the new system going up for pre-order in November or December, with a possible release in March of 2025, which would match up pretty similarly to what they did with the original Switch when they made the jump from the Wii U to that console. Regardless of whenever they actually do reveal it and whatnot, we know it's more than likely releasing in 2025, be it in the spring or in the holiday. But other than that, officially we know zilch, nada, nothing. Unofficially though, we do have little snippets of information that have come out over time. One thing that definitely seems to get reiterated over and over and over again is that this is indeed a new version of a Nintendo Switch. It's a new model of the console that you already own. It's not going to be something radically different, like Game Boy Advance to Nintendo DS, or the GameCube to the Wii. This thing is very much going to be Nintendo Switch The Revenge. It's still going to be a hybrid console, it's still going to have Joy-Cons, and it's still going to have a dock. And don't worry, I will have linked below various articles and Reddit threads where people are going over this stuff, leaks and rumors and whatever, and the stuff that seems, at the very least, the most concrete. But everything seems to be pointing to the fact that we're just going to be getting a stronger version of the Switch. And in a way, this may be surprising for some people. I mean, Nintendo hasn't really taken this approach for quite some time. Normally, when they release a new console, they have some kind of new way to play or some kind of new gimmick attached to it to make it different from the one that preceded it. It's very rare that Nintendo just releases a more powerful version of what was there before, at least nowadays. But it shouldn't come as that much of a surprise considering how successful the Switch has been. As of right now, during the recording of this video, the Switch is the third best-selling console of all time, sitting right behind the Nintendo DS and the PS2. And the Switch has absolutely demolished the sales of all of Nintendo's home consoles. So really, them just continuing on off of this momentum shouldn't be that much of a surprise, because it's been so successful, why the hell not? While it may be a little bit of a shocking move for Nintendo to do something, I guess, so mundane as just releasing a more powerful version of the console you already have, it's definitely the thing that makes the most sense in terms of business. Plus, the move to the Switch had a lot more reasons behind it than just the poor sales of the Wii U and the 3DS. For one, making a hybrid console allowed Nintendo to consolidate both their handheld and their console division developers, so that way they can make games for one system instead of making games across two consoles, which overall generally makes the release of first-party titles a little bit faster than they would be if they had kept them separate. So I imagine that staying the hybrid console route would make the most sense, considering it allows them to keep doing just that and rolling out first-party games a little bit quicker from their multiple divisions, rather than splitting everything up. So again, all signs seem to point towards this just being another hybrid console, and if it's going to be a hybrid console, it's more than likely just going to be another Switch. And if they are indeed just selling us a new version of the Switch, that is what really gets me thinking. My curiosity is piqued, because the main selling point of the Switch, the main reason why it has become the monster of a console that it has in terms of sales, is because of the portability, the off-TV play, the capability of playing multiplayer games wherever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, all the time. And in addition to this, the quality of the games that you are playing are console quality games. If in fact this new console is just a new version of the Switch, all of that gimmick is already out on the table. We know what it does. The initial mystique of the Switch is now done. So what is Nintendo going to sell you on to get you to buy this new system? And the more I think about it, the more I think that Nintendo's just going to have to go back to the way things used to be and sell you on the power of a console and the strength of its library. I mean, it's a safe bet to assume that the new system is going to be stronger than the current Switch. That's not even a question. However, I think that Nintendo is going to be focusing mostly on the power of this console and really just trying to blow people away with how powerful a handheld system can possibly be. Now, that isn't to say it's going to be the most powerful handheld ever, or even on the market right now, because at the end of the day, these things cost money and Nintendo's going to want to price this in a way that it's going to be competitive and all that kind of stuff. However, I do think that they are definitely going to try their best to put out a really powerful handheld system. And obviously, while a lot of this is my own speculation, I'm not going to lie, I'm definitely leaning in the direction that I am because of information that has leaked out, if it's true, over the past few months. And again, this info will be linked down in the description so you can check it out for yourself. And from the information that some very dedicated people have been getting, it seems like the Switch 2 could possibly be PS4, Xbox One level of strength when it's in handheld mode, and when docked, it could reach up to the Xbox Series S in terms of power. Now again, let me stress that none of this information is official. Take this all with a big old grain of salt. But if there is any truth to that whatsoever, I mean, that's pretty impressive. The fact that a handheld hybrid console could even come close to an Xbox Series S or whatever is pretty impressive to me, at least. Maybe not everybody would be of that opinion. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who'd be like, oh, that's last gen, who gives a shit? But in all fairness, the most important thing here is that they can get modern games ported to the system, and so they can have a lot of third-party games available to them. Because again, Nintendo is going to try to win you over by giving you a console that you can play games that are coming out right now, and you can play them anywhere, whenever you want. That's the whole thing. Which, again, the Switch already does, except you would be getting probably a much more expansive third-party selection of games. Your Call of Duties, your Battlefields, Overwatch, whatever the kids are playing these days, will more than likely be available on the new Switch. And there's absolutely evidence to back this up, because if you remember, our good friends over at Xbox were embroidered in a little court case for a while with the FTC, and a lot of information came out because of Activision being involved on dealings and things that they were doing with other companies. And since Activision is a third-party developer, or it was, they had some information on Nintendo and what the new Switch was. And according to the information that was in that trial, the new Nintendo console is comparable in power to the PS4 and the Xbox One, which of course coincides with the information that is starting to come out from various leakers. And I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of games can be ported to the Xbox One and the PS4 still, because Xbox Series X and PS5 still don't have big libraries on them, because half the library of games you could play are on the previous consoles. And Switch 2 could potentially be on that level. Now You're Playing with Power was a popular slogan that Nintendo used back when it released the NES, and it would be kind of cool to see that come back. And it very well could, because again, with specs like this, I'm pretty impressed, I'm not gonna lie. And while personally I don't give that much of a shit about the third-party options, because I tend to play a lot of my third-party games on my Xbox and PlayStation systems anyway, it's really the first-party titles that gets me the most excited. I mean, imagine basically if you could have played Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom on an Xbox as opposed to playing it on the Switch. Tears of the Kingdom makes my Switch literally chug. The bitch sounds like it's gonna absolutely bottom out on me. But if you put that game on an Xbox One, faster load times, smoother frame rate, it would probably just generally be a better experience, at least from a technical standpoint. And it's exciting to think of what Nintendo could pull off with a little bit more RAM and a little bit more power. But remember, it's not just the power that I think is going to be the selling point, but also the strength of its library. And I honestly think that Nintendo's going to come out swinging when it comes to this new system. It's painfully obvious at this point that we're in the Switch's twilight. The games that we're getting are much more smaller in scope. We're getting more HD remasters, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we're getting some banger games right now. Super Mario RPG, Metroid Prime, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. These are absolute bangers. But I mean, if we're being completely real here, nothing really just gets people as excited as a new 3D Mario, or a new Mario Kart, or a new Zelda, or whatever, etc., etc. And these are likely the types of games that we're going to see when the Switch 2 is finally revealed to us. But what kind of games I think we're going to be getting with the new Switch, I'm going to put that in a different video because it's a huge discussion. Don't worry, it's going to come out a lot sooner than my videos usually do, I promise about that one. But yeah, I'm caught up in the Switch 2 hype, I'm not going to lie. I'm in there, baby. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm pretty interested to see what Nintendo's going to do. But you know me, you know what I like to hear what your guys' opinion is. Let me know down in the comments below. What do you think Nintendo's strategy is going to be with this thing? I mean, this is all speculation anyway. For all the hell I know, they're going to put out some dual screen DS Switch or some crazy shit. Who knows what it's going to be? But hop down in those comments and tell me what your opinion is. What do you think the new Switch is going to be about? If you made it this far in the video, I really do appreciate it. That's fantastic. Feel free to like the video if you liked it. Feel free to dislike it if you hate it. Either way, whatever. And if you really liked what we're talking about here, feel free to subscribe. Me like you to make videos about video games. And if that's what you like, then maybe you'll want to stick around. To all of you longtime subs out there, hello again. You already know the deal. Busy guy, don't have a lot of time to upload. However, I have good news. I'm trying to make a little bit more room for that sweet, sweet YouTube in my life. So hopefully, maybe, there will be more content for me going forward. Regardless of whether I have time or not though, I'll always make videos. I love you guys. I love making videos. It's something I enjoy doing. So you always know that you're going to have content from me one way or another. If for any particular reason you feel like you want to speak to me outside of the YouTube space, and I don't know why you would want to do that, I have a Discord chat. There's going to be a link down in the description below. It's a graveyard in there. We have like 7 members that actually speak, but you know what? You could be the 8th. And that would be something special. But in all seriousness, it has been a little bit since I made a video. I wanted to kind of get back out there. I wanted to do something easy, something that I was really interested in talking about, so I jumped in with this. I'm sorry for the absence. Work is a bitch. But hopefully, to those of you who like to hear my voice, you'll hear it a little bit more. I don't know why you would want to hear my voice that much, but hey, I'm not complaining. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned. Have a good one.